Hey folks, so welcome back to another video. We're in the MK8, and as you've seen by the title, we are going stage 2 today. Got a downpipe in this box over here from Miltech. It's going to remove the OPF as well. But the first thing we'll do before we get the car in is get some stock exhaust clips. Got a Dean there as well. A long time since you've been on the channel, mate.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
What's your first reaction there, mate?
It's loud.
For a stock,
it's loud.
Yeah, it's quite surprising, isn't it? All right, I thought I'd just come inside and give you a better look at the system itself. It's quite simple. It's like any decal, but of course it's for the EA888 Gen 4. There seems to be two pipes. That's of course going to go straight onto the turbo, and then there's a link pipe. Now this will hook up to the stock catback. There's all the numbers and whatever if you want to have a look. Comes with a clamp. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory. Miltech. Cool, so we've got the MK8 up on the ramp. We've already taken off a few bits.
A couple of differences so far. We've got the lambda is now in the downpipe, the pre-cat lambda, whereas it's usually in the turbo in the Mark 7. V-band is slightly bigger turbo, but the same design. This second lambda is connected a bit differently as well, so just sort of working it out as we go along really. It's the first MK8 I've worked on.
Okay, so stock exhaust, the one that was making all that racket before. OPFs and cats still in place. Car's no resonator from factory, so all the Res Delete boys will be happy. Got the factory valves as well, so all of this obviously will remain unchanged for now. Yeah, next steps from here then, Dean, what's the plan?
Next plan, pretty much similar to the Mark 7 plan. So catback off, front subframe out the way, and then heat shielding, prop, and that should give us access to pull it out. What
What we'll do, I'll just film as we go along. It's not going to be like a strict DIY or anything, because it's not something you want to do on the floor in ideal situations. Prop there, running all the way to a fancy Magna Ray diff here. Look at that one-man machine there.
Just like that.
Just like that.
If you've got the tools, it's much easier.
Yep.
Apart from on the wrong side of it, because you put your tripod in the way.
See, he's blaming the tripod now. Even though they look really minor for him. They're just cartoony, aren't
Just
they?
the big wide outer rim, it's a bit Need for Speed Underground.
There's the factory valves, well, the motors. So whenever we do put a new system on it, I'm going to be retaining that. But this gives me a bit of a RS3 throwback. It looks very similar to that catback.
Right, yeah, you leave the engine forward now.
Is that doing the job?
Yeah, that will help.
See, I'm actually getting involved now because Dean's giving me some tools.
Okay, your bit's done.
My bit's done, yeah.
Your bit is done.
It's quite satisfying, that was.
There we go.
Yeah, pressure sensors off.
It's done with. After we unplugged that earlier, so it shouldn't cause any issues.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it has much room in that gap there.
There's not.
Yeah, especially for that to twist past there where the prop goes onto.
Yeah.
The turbo's much bigger, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not in the same location.
Mm.
The bulk is different. Yeah. Here she comes.
There you are.
Oh my.
So yeah, that was a massive faff, wasn't it, Dean?
That was rubbish, yeah.
I mean, that you're saying the cat itself is larger than the Mark 7 one?
Yeah, so the cat itself is bigger, there's a bit more lumpiness to it, the way it's designed, and the bracket on the back is bigger as well.
Yeah.
So it's just much more of a pain to get out. So there might be an easier way, once I've done a few of them, but
Yeah.
first sort of try, there is a bit more hassle.
Yeah, so this comes in two parts as well, as mentioned, and we'll just test fitted it and it went straight on, right?
Again, that's very similar to the cat downpipe you'd put on the Mark 7.
Reinstallation is looking a lot more positive compared to that tricky removal. Right, okay, so the Mark 8's on the floor now. Time for our first startup. Let me get to the back door first. Yeah, don't know what to say about that so far. Give it a little blip. It has a bit of a, it doesn't sound like a 2 litre that. It has a bit of a different, yeah, the tone's different, isn't it? Yeah. Quite like it actually, now that you've blipped it. Is that race mode? No. Put it in race mode to give it a slight blip. I know the engine's cold. Whoa. You know, I actually quite like it now.
It's having that bit more turbo noise as well.
Yeah. Alright, we'll let the car fully warm up before we give it some proper revs. We'll get it outside, show you how it sounds without all this echo. That is loud. Okay, so the oil's up to temperature now. The car's still in comfort mode. I'll give it a few blips in here. These are valves closed. They of course have no soft limiter. Now I'll put into race mode, so valves open. I think it's safe to say that's a lot louder than anyone expected, especially with the added overrun. The car is of course stage 1 with the intercooler. Normally they have a few sort of gunshots around the 3.5 mark. This has had a few bits added in. Probably will have to remove them. There's no way to describe it. Our suspicions were correct. The fact that there's no resonator on a Mark 8 just makes it sound absolutely insane. But yeah, this is going to go on the dyno next. We're going to see what it can make on stage 2 power. Obviously still with the stock intake. I'm guessing probably towards the 450 mark. And even if it doesn't hit that with the intake, I'm sure it definitely will. Right, so those are some pretty noisy runs. It's actually a few days later. We ran out of time that day to finish off the tune, etc. Gonna get some more runs in. Hopefully we can get it to flame, because I'd like to get one shot of it. Okay, so we've done a fair few runs there, back here with Doug. So what we've done is we've gone every sort of stage, could say on the screen here. 340, which is standard, stage 1, then stage 1 of the intercooler, and then today, which is decat plus the intercooler with the stock intake. But yeah, I'll let you take it away, Doug.
Yeah, so we're up to 433, 608, but we're starting to run out of puff on the turbo top end, so we can't really get much more out of this. But the torque stepped up every time.
The sort of increment from removing the OPFs is probably, would you say, is less than what we were thinking?
It's less than I was expecting.
Yeah.
And you're measuring a lot more on these ECUs, so you can't overspin the turbo now, so you're not going to run more boost just to overspin everything, so you can't push it anymore really to make more.
Yeah, we were thinking because of the gains it was making previously, it would jump up to like 4.
It's a nice gauge to start with, and then it's the diminishing returns is just like dropped right off.
So Sean's just getting it off now. I'm gonna try and do a few little flybys up and down the road, make a bit of a racket. I think most people have gone home, so we should be okay. Of course, it's all early stages at the minute. Would have been nice to see 450, but I think just isn't the case with these. We've tried our best. I mean, it's done a fair few runs in the dyno. I left it here for about a week. Of course, we still have got the intake to put on. I've got an even chewy ready. It would be cool to do like a full out map with some race fuel or something, but it's not something you do on a daily basis, and there's no map switching at the moment. That Volvo as well. That's loud, isn't it, Sean? Right, with that launch. Right, so the car's now back at home. I think it's safe to say I'm going to need to get a resonated system when I do get an exhaust for this car, because it's just a bit too loud for my liking. And I know you can turn the valves into comfort mode, but the whole point of having a Golf R is to go into R mode and give it some, and when you do that, yeah, it's a bit much. Of course, that isn't helped by the fact that we have got an aggressive overrun, which you guys know my thoughts on that. We showed it now, but it's going to get turned down in the next map tweak. Now, I know some of you may be a bit disappointed by the numbers this car made, and we're expecting mid-400s comfortably. Of course, we have got the stock airbox with the snow grit and the normal filter in there, but even despite that, I don't see us touching 450. I think the most it saw was like 437, 438, so yeah, if you had an intake into there, we're probably going to be at mid 440s, I'd say. I did have a good chat with Doug about this, and he's saying the turbo's pretty much maxed out at that. We even went to the extent of changing out the DV, because now the charge pipe, we thought maybe that might have an issue. We changed the PCV as well, because there was a bit of oil in the intake pipe, so I thought maybe that might help. But ultimately, those are the numbers. It's probably, let's say, 25 horsepower more than your average Mark 7R. I've got a bit extra weight, so I don't know how it's going to fare in terms of like draggy numbers. So we'll see. Either way, I'll give you guys a first drive next video. Make sure you drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe for a lot more content to come. And yeah, follow my Instagram, trhamza_, which is on the screen now. I'll stop rambling now, and I'll see you in the next video.